the men. So Men's Mental Health Awareness Month is celebrated in June every single year. And this time round, we want to have a conversation with the gentlemen as we try and see how we are going to be able to break the silence and end the stigma when we talk about men's mental health. And why is it that we do not have men speaking? Why is it that men are usually silent whenever they are going through hardships? And what can be done to avert that in order for us to ensure that the men are also heard, they can also be heard, and we also will be able to reduce the suicide rates that we get to experience in men. So that is the conversation that we will be having at 9 a.m. and I will be joined by Ephraim Ngare, who is a counselor, guitarist, senior school, Gilgil. We'll also be having Mike, who is a trainer, a mentor, and the CEO Pro Mentors Africa. Let's have that conversation at 9 a.m.
Indeed, indeed. Welcome to Good Morning Kenya. Now, matters World Accreditation Day, which has been observed since 2007, and this year's theme is Innovation, Trust, and Sustainability, the power of accreditation. And it comes at a time when governments, businesses, consumers, and even regulators are dealing with top three challenges. One is how to adopt emerging technology, and also which claims and certifications can be trusted, as well as verifying sustainability commitments in the era of greenwashing. That is a conversation I'll be having with Lucy Namo, who is the Chief Manager, Laboratories at Kenya Accreditation Service, and also Stanislaus Masinza, who is a Manager, Calibration Labs at Kenya Accreditation Service. That is a conversation that will be coming to you at around 8 a.m. So I implore you to tune into this live broadcast. My name is Mike Migwe. Good morning, Marie.
Thank you so much, Mike. A very good morning to you. How are you, Victor and Vivian?
We are doing fantastic.
Great.
Doing all right.
Victor, do you have any updates for us?
Excuse me?
And when I say updates, you know. Ama there's nothing ya kushangilia. Ni sawa.
Marie, what are you trying to say?
No, I'm just asking.
Marie is asking you about football.
What
Yes.
are you trying to say?
It is good morning, and so we can start it on a good note.
Somebody said that Arsenal is going to play at the World Cup.
Wow.
Really? Sawa. But I think they'll have representatives. I think that's what they mean.
No. Though we have got Arsenal players who are going to play at the World Cup.
Yeah.
All right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm not a football fan.
Yes.
But when it comes to World Cup, you can count me in. So I don't know whether I'm a fan. I'm not so sure what it is about World Cup that makes me want to watch. But any other time, you wouldn't find me stressing on it. I guess it's because it's a world showpiece. And sometimes I just want to see like the best of the teams. Yeah, but I start watching at the quarterfinals, not really at the beginning stages. Yeah, that's where I start watching it. Yeah, but all the same, I'm happy to see you guys. We've not been, I've not been on set for a while.
Yeah.
But yeah, we are back. And thank you so much back at home or from wherever you're joining us. My name is Maria, and definitely I'll be bringing you up to speed with all matters news. Of course, the impeachment case for former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua went down yesterday. And of course, the High Court upheld, his impeachment and also awarded him some, violation of his rights, 50 million shillings. But as my colleague Victor Olo has already alluded to, his team was not satisfied with that particular ruling and have actually said that they're going to be moving into the court. They're going to be appealing it, that is in the Court of Appeal. So all that we'll be covering for you today. My colleague, that is Ruth Wamboi, who is always on our court beat, will actually be following that for you later on in the day. So let's begin our news right now, where Laikipia County Security Committee has vowed to take action on any goons who will destroy property during the planned demonstrations on Tuesday, that is today, against the construction of an Ebola quarantine facility at Laikipia Airbase. This comes as World Health Organization Director General Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus on Monday urged Uganda to reconsider the closure of its border with the Democratic Republic of Congo because of the Ebola outbreak. Let's get the details of that story.
Security Committee meeting on Monday, Laikipia law enforcers issued a stern warning to anyone who will destroy or loot property during the planned demonstration on Tuesday against the construction of an Ebola quarantine facility at Laikipia Airbase.
Tumeshuhudia kwamba maandamano mengi huwa yanafuatiwa na uvunjaji sheria, wizi na mambo mengine. Mimi ni kusema kwamba kama sisi kama county security team tumesema kwamba hatutaruhusu mambo ambayo yavunjaji sheria.
Raia wa Laikipia wako na uwajibikaji wa kuensure that wale wakora wanakuja, wanawaitia polisi, wanashikwa na wanawekwa ndani.
Meanwhile, Laikipia County Deputy Governor Ruben Kamuri has faulted the government for not involving the residents or county leadership before the construction of the Ebola facility.
I, in support with the citizens of Laikipia, on the proper protocols to be followed for any engagement with the quarantine unit.
The facility itself is already in an area where there are schools, there are communities, there are teachers who come in and go out. There are other workers, support workers in the facility. So it's truly not possible for Laikipia or even Kenya at large to handle this facility as an exclusion from the community.
President William Ruto's aide Farouk Kibet, however, cautioned against politicization of the construction of the facility.
Ebola is an airborne disease, and lazima tujunge na kulinda wa Kenya. Ndio maana nasema Uhuru Kenyatta alifanya wakati ule kwa njia mzuri na lazima apongezwe. Hakufanya kwa sababu yeye alitaka kuhatarisha maisha wa Kenya. Hivyo ndivyo rais wa Kenya anasema, wengine wameweka kisiasa.
Elsewhere, World Health Organization Director General Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus on Monday urged Uganda to reconsider the closure of its border with Democratic Republic of Congo because of the Ebola outbreak. 544 confirmed Ebola cases have been reported in Congo, with 19 reported in Uganda, mostly people who entered the country from Congo.
And the government is calling on parents to play their role in instilling discipline in their children in order to curb the rising cases of unrest and fire tragedies in schools in the country. The government spokesman, Isaac Mwaura, has also reiterated the government's commitment to give the families which lost their children in the recent Tutumishi Girls Academy fire tragedy a 200,000 shilling support to cater for burial expenses. He added that all 79 survivors who were undergoing treatment in hospital have since been discharged. The fire killed 16 students.
You can see that there is a debate whether to have schools closed. There are others who are saying let's do away with the boarding school. But honestly, as a nation, we have a challenge. And we have a challenge, and I think we need to address it. And maybe we as parents need to ask ourselves the question, are we parenting properly? What is lacking? You know, I was at a school yesterday, and they actually told me that the grade 10 learners are more bolder. They're even asking, can you give us an opportunity to communicate with our parents? I don't think we would have said that before. So there's an issue of discipline that we have to have an honest conversation about.
Former Chief Justice David Maraga was among several demonstrators arrested on Monday for protesting alleged plans to construct a 76-acre car park within the Nairobi National Park along Lang'ata Road. Law Society of Kenya, among other stakeholders, faulted the alleged development, saying the project was being pushed through without public participation.
In silence.
Former Chief Justice David Maraga joined environmental activists on Monday near the Kenya Wildlife Service headquarters along Langata Road to protest alleging hiving off of about 76 acres of part of the Nairobi National Park to construct a car park.
The 90-year-old Nairobi National Park has been around for many years. We know why it was the planners put it here. Nairobi is a concrete jungle. There's no fresh air. This is the only area in Nairobi where there's going to be some fresh air going into the rest of the city.
We believe in sustainable development, but we do not believe that development should be at the cost of our rights in terms of environment.
They argued that the move threatens wildlife conservation efforts and demanded an immediate suspension of any plans to alter the park's boundaries.
This country must be alive to this, and we demand that this proposed project be stopped immediately. I want to appeal to all Kenyans that it is not only these groups here who are concerned. You are all concerned. Maybe you have not given it thought. This is a very serious thing that we are extending the arid and semi-arid parts of this country.
The car park will supposedly serve the new Bomas International Convention Center that is under construction.
Tumekuja hapa na tumesema kile tumesema. Hiyo park waachane nayo. Hiyo park ni yetu, sio yao. Hiyo park ni ya Wakenya. Kwa hivyo hawawezi amua ati wataichukua tu na kwanza sehemu kubwa hivyo ati wafanye vile wanataka nayo. Wakitaka hivyo wakuja waongeleshe Wakenya, Wakenya watasema vile wanataka.
The demonstrations would however not last long as police officers arrived at the scene to disperse the activists. The protesters, including Maraga, would be rounded up and arrested before being ferried to Langata police station where they were detained. There is sparked an uproar among the legal fraternity and human rights defenders. Law Society of Kenya, through its president Charles Kanjama, condemned the arrest, saying bundling a retired head of judiciary into a police vehicle for peacefully opposing a 42 billion Kenya shillings project reportedly pushed through without public participation is a direct assault on the civic space guaranteed under Article 37 of the Constitution. Maraga was later released after hours in police custody.
President William Ruto now says the country will benefit from new European Union funding to accelerate its digital agenda and strengthen its position as a regional technology hub. President Ruto, who is in Belgium, says the EU-Kenya digital partnership will include a 15 billion shillings investment to expand connectivity. The deal, which was struck during the Kenya-Belgium Business Forum, seeks to create opportunities for youths and various businesses in both nations. The president also welcomed a 5 billion shillings support from the European Union for the Blue Raman submarine cables Africa extension connecting Djibouti, Somalia, Kenya, and Tanzania. This partnership, he says, will strengthen connectivity, lower bandwidth costs, while reinforcing Kenya's position as a leading regional digital hub.
We already have cooperation with Aga Khan Hospital and so on. So we're developing new kind of therapies inside Kenya. Now we're mostly on the west side of Africa, so now we're moving to the east side. I think your words and what you said of what should be announced will definitely help us to make faster decisions to move to Kenya.
The strongest endorsement of Kenya is not what government says. It is what investors do. Bio, as you've heard, has invested in Kenya for over 25 years and counts Kenya among its largest exposures. Odo, again, chose Nairobi as its African headquarters. Turatos serves East Africa from Kenyan plant. Sirona built its first commercial-scale direct air capture site at Lake Elementaita. So I say to Belgian manufacturers, do not buy Africa's raw materials to add value elsewhere. Come and build with us. process Kenyan minerals in Kenya and Africa, on clean power, and help Europe secure the supply chains it needs. Make it in Kenya, make it in Africa, make it clean, and sell in Europe and to the world.
To matters environment, where environment stakeholders have termed biodiversity loss, climate change and pollution as some of the biggest challenges facing the world today. Scientists therefore calling for greater international collaboration in developing sustainable solutions. Speaking during the second joint international scientific conference in Nairobi, Principal Research Scientist Professor Esther Kioko said the interconnected crises threaten ecosystem, livelihood and development.
In the future, we'll have expand our collaboration either on the research in different research disciplines, and also we'll try to have some, capacity building in different areas in Kenya. So to strengthen the collaboration and also to provide some solution for either for the food and also for the environment problems.
We want to partner with many other scientists so that we can be able to resolve problems that are facing farmers, mostly to do with the pests, and also to be able to tap and harness into the industry of insects, which can also be used as an industry.
During this conference, we recognize the challenges that face the world today. Among them, the climate change, pollution, biodiversity, extinction, and therefore we are all coming together to find ways that we can together address the challenges that face the world today.
So let's look at the business news ahead of the budget reading, where education is likely to receive the largest budgetary allocation when estimates are tabled in Parliament. That is on Thursday this week. The draft estimates shows that 781.4 billion shillings has been earmarked for education. However, the amount for hiring teachers in the draft document has been reduced from last year's figure of 7.2 billion shillings to 1.9 billion shillings, as Benson Rioba now reports. Okay, so we move on, where government spokesperson Isaac Mwaura says there will be no additional taxes imposed on second-hand clothes, commonly known as mitumba, amid growing public debate over the Finance Bill 2026. Ahead of Thursday's budget reading, Mwaura is urging Kenyans to rely on official information regarding the proposed tax measures in the Finance Bill 2026.
Government spokesperson Isaac Mwaura has moved to ease public concerns over the Finance Bill 2026, addressing contentious proposals touching on mitumba after claims emerged that the retail cost of second-hand clothes would increase after the budget is read on Thursday this week.
I think the issue of mitumba has been overplayed. It is important to say categorically, as the government spokesman is speaking on behalf of government, the whole of government, that there is no such provision.
The Finance Bill 2026 removes import-related taxation on mitumba clothes, reducing tax exposure at the point of entry. However, under paragraph 169, the Finance Bill 2026 introduces a proposal that subjects the local supply of second-hand clothing to value-added tax.
However, it is important to state clearly, a good number of the proposals that you can see here were actually from the sector people themselves.
Mwaura says gratuity payments will remain tax-free. This will apply to employees who have worked continuously for the same employer for at least 36 months.
And in addition, it is up to 31%, because right now the regime has been a bit different.
The government has further proposed increasing the duty-free allowance for arriving passengers from $300 to $200, allowing travelers to bring in higher value goods without attracting custom taxes.
So if you have bought an iPad, a laptop, whatever, that is going to enhance, especially those who travel out, so that we don't have that problem at our ports of entry, especially our airports.
The Finance Bill 2026 also proposes the removal of excess duty on imported bottled water and VAT exemption on dialysis equipment. To attract investment, the Finance Bill 2026 proposes reducing the corporate tax rate for non-resident petroleum contractors from 37.5% to 30%.
We want to make sure that we are able, first and foremost, to do petroleum production here, both in Lokichar and also in terms of petroleum products. Some countries, our neighbors, and this is being before cabinet, they actually want to source from us because we're a transit economy.
Kenya Power is closing all payment counters in its banking halls, a move that is expected to affect more than 1,500 employees as the utility fully relies on online and mobile channels to deliver payment services. Kenya Power Acting Managing Director Dr. Jeremiah Kiplagat says the closure will be done in 3 phases and will be concluded by the end of June 2027.
Kenya Power Acting Managing Director Dr. Jeremiah Kiplagat says there has been a 70% reduction in its banking hall since automation of payments. This has prompted the utility firm to resolve to close all its payment counters within a year, starting with those at its Nyeri, Thika and Kisii this month. They'll be followed by those at Nakuru, Kisumu Electricity House and Eldoret end of this year, and conclude Nairobi Electricity House, Stima Plaza and Mombasa Electricity House by June next year.
Now customers will use digital tools to pay for us. So, but at the same time we'll train them. Part of this is to sensitize them and ensure that they know how to use the tools.
Customers find it more convenient and more efficient to reach us through the digital channels. Previously, some years back, you had to go to a Kenya Power office or to a bank to buy your tokens.
Dr. Kiplagat maintains that the affected over 1,500 employees will be redeployed.
Going forward, there are many other digital tools that we are going to develop to ensure that this is a digital era and we are not left behind. We want to move with the season.
He says Kenya Power has over 5 million interactions on digital platforms with customers monthly.
I look at sports now, where this year's edition of the FIFA World Cup tournament is expected to officially begin this Thursday, with Mexico taking the field against South Africa. The match is a repeat of the opening game of the 2010 World Cup, where the two teams played to a 1-1 draw.
For the first time, the tournament will feature 48 teams, unlike previous editions, which included 32 teams. It will also be the first time the competition is co-hosted by 3 countries, namely United States, Mexico and Canada. The match is a repeat of the opening game of the 2010 World Cup, where the two teams played to a 1-1 draw. In 2010, Sifiwe Shabalala gave South Africa the lead in the 54th minute, while Rafael Marquez equalized for Mexico, resulting in a 1-1 draw.
Turning it through. It's on here now. The goalkeeper's beaten, and South Africa have their first goal. Sifiwe Shabalala.
The tournament will be hosted at Estadio Azteca, which previously hosted the opening matches of the World Cup in 1970 and 1986. The competition will run from June 11th to July 19th.
A decent ball in with 3 waiting. Surely it has to be, and it is. The equaliser from Marquez.
Harambee Stars put in an impressive display to beat Lesotho 4-0 in their second friendly match at the Lucas Moripe Stadium in Pretoria on Sunday. After settling for a disappointing 1-1 draw against the same opponents on Thursday, Kenya bounced back strongly. Mohamed Bajaber and Lawrence Okoth both scored 2 goals each to secure a comfortable victory and end the June international break on a high note. The victory was head coach Benny McCarthy's biggest win since taking charge of the team. The win was also a good response to criticism after the first match, where Kenya gave away an early lead and failed to dominate despite being the higher-ranked team. Well, that's where we bring the news to an end this morning. Thank you as always for your time and for choosing to start your day with us here on Good Morning Kenya. My name is Marie Yambo. Of course, the rest of the team is still here to take you through the rest of Good Morning Kenya. Have a blessed day.
I finally found you.
Of course. I'm not like ordinary people.
Wow!
Choo-choo!
Li Shengyuan? You're gone again?
Sorry, Xiaolei. At this stage, I can only appear for a moment.
Ni kweli. Lakini kwa nini? Kwa nini?
Hujaelewa.
Mwenye macho hayamtazama.
Lakini mimi nakwambia tazama tena.
Kwa sababu nimekuwa kipofu kama popo ama mwenye kipungani kama.
Hujanielewa.
Mbona wamfuatafuata binti yangu kila mahali?
Sio hivyo mama, ni
wacha kuni mama hapa. Hebu niambie nia yako.
Tumaini, umenunua ushanga kunihadaa ama kuniringia?
Mbona uniuliza hivyo?
Kuniambia Andrew ni baba ya jina. Huyu msichana umoe. Lakini hakuna cha lakini wala hakuna cha nini.
Enda utafute hizo documents zote nilikwambia, kisha ulete kwangu as soon as possible.
Nitasoma hadi mwisho.
Nilikuambia useme bei yako. Nikulipe uende uponde raha bila stress.
Mimi najua utanitafuta.
Mimi na tukishikana we are unstoppable.
Wewe nenda ufanye uchunguzi ujue kule anaishi.
Unataka wananchi wakuchangie pesa ya campaign na bado wakupigie kura.
Hivi wewe utaniona vipi mimi kwenye ndoto? Nimeshinda uchaguzi.
Umekaribishwa kwangu anytime.
Tutampata tu mali tunamtaka. Cheers.
Lale ata libeba na motorbike.
Mbio jamaa ondoka kwa dirisha tuende.
Cheki kanyaga mafuta.
Bado uko hapa.
Toka! Ukisikia kitu nipigie simu. Sawa sawa?
Yeah, you know got you.
We'll find them.
When Marvin, surely when?
Lishan? Amefanya?
Hawajakwambia bado?
Kuambiwa nini?
Kama hawajakwambia, sifai kuzungumza kitu yote.
Nini kinaendelea huku? I've been trying to call you since yesterday. And neither you nor Marvin is answering my calls. Ako wapi huyo Marvin? Paul. Lishan was kidnapped yesterday.
Aki mama, usipigie polisi, mom. Mom.
Great, welcome back. It's now 3 minutes past 7 a.m. Good morning, welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is Good Morning Kenya. Now it's time for us to get into the political segment, People and Politics. Let's take a look at what's happening in the country and what's affecting you as a Kenyan. All right, so let me start with the front page of the local dailies. Let me start with the Star newspaper. The Star says that cheap rail returns one route at a time. Cheap rail returns one route at a time. Nyahururu line, dormant since 1980, now resumes services. That actually resumed services last week. And it's going to cost you only 50 shillings from Nyahururu to Ol Kalou. But normally, when you use a matatu, or a PSV, it will cost you 200 shillings. So this is 50 shillings since 1980. We are waiting for more, all right? There is another case here when it comes to Ebola. Rich nations should now fund Ebola fight in East Africa, says lobby groups. that is East Africa countries are now being asked to support the countries which are not able to sustain themselves. Still, the inner pages, Odium's ambitious plan to fire up its bases ahead of 2027 election. Renewed mobilization comes amid growing internal contestation over the Orange Party's future direction. We've discussed this over and over and over, but there is no harm in discussing it once again. Sifuna entry jolts opposition matrix. Okay, sources within the opposition say that Nairobi senator can no longer be ignored in their power-sharing plans. Is it? Okay. Okay, that is on the inner pages. And finally, Gachagwa's bid to overturn 2024 impeachment flops. The verdict is now likely to have significant political implications ahead of the 2027 general election. That is what we are going to talk about today. On the front page of the Daily Nation, Gachagwa's next steps. Now, what is the verdict? Court judgment says that the violation of Gachagwa's rights under Articles 47 and 50 of the Constitution does not vitiate the impeachment process undertaken under Article 145 and the public participation. The court ruled that National Assembly held a constitutionally sufficient exercise by providing reasonable notice and multiple channels of engagement for citizens to be heard. And finally, is it a case of political bias? Now, court dismissed claims that the House speakers and MPs were biased, noting that without evidence, the allegations were merely suspicious and amounted to political dissatisfaction. There is a story there that many people were wondering, where the former Chief Justice David Maraga was arrested by plainclothes police officers yesterday on Langata Road in Nairobi during protests against the planned excision of 89 acres from the Nairobi National Park. According to KWS, has defended the project, insisting that it is conservation investment and not a parking facility for the Bomas of Kenya. Okay. So that is where it is. Who has the Standard? Wakili, do you have the Standard?
Yes, I have the
What
Standard.
does it say, the front page?
Condemned.
Condemned.
Unfairly by the executive, legislature and the judiciary. Absurdity. Although the High Court found flaws in parts of the impeachment process of the former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua and awarded him Kenya shillings 50 million in damages, it upheld that the Senate's vote to remove him from office stands, dealing a major blow on his bid for political redemption and causing confusion in the rule of law, with the ruling effectively locking him out of public office unless overturned on appeal. The former deputy president now faces the toughest battle of his political career. Gachagua must now chart a new course as questions mount over his influence in Mount Kenya, his leverage within the opposition, and his path to the 2027 political contest. Read page 4 and 5.
That is perfect. You were in the court yesterday.
Yes, yes, indeed.
Please give us a quick summary. That was 10 hours of...
yes, you know...
somebody was asking, how does it feel sitting for 10 hours?
Well. Of course, there is no legal requirement that the judges must read everything. And I think what happened yesterday was done out of excess or abundance of caution. It was meant now, for the court to thoroughly explain themselves in English that, of course, was not well understood by the local men or lay persons. But it was meant just for the court to offer a thorough explanation for what now became of the decision.
Because this is a high-stakes case.
Yes, of course. But in ordinary, in ordinary course of business, in court proceedings, what we always do is that the court comes, parties having fully understood their cases. You are representing the petitioner, this one was representing the respondent, so the court now dives to the analysis and the determination of the matter. That is what ordinarily happens in the course of business. Number one, to save on the court's time, and number two, to just set down the issues that were up for determination by the Honorable Court, and then now to determine those issues.
We'll come back to them one by one.
Yes.
But generally, what happened yesterday, what do you make of that? You are part of the petitioner.
Yes,
one of the petitioners.
Yes. I think the decision to me, I mean, as it has been with most of the lawyers and advocates, the decision is very confusing. Very confusing, and I think we will have now an opportunity moving forward or upwards to the Court of Appeal and the Supreme Court to get some clarity. I know, number one, the court arrived at the conclusion that the process undertaken by our senators at the Senate by denying, denying the former Deputy President H.E. Rigathi Gachagua, his right to an adjournment, that in itself violated his right to a fair trial. So having violated his right to a fair trial, one would say now the process, the ultimate conclusion or the decision that was arrived at by the Senate being a product of a poisonous tree, then was also a poisonous outcome. So one will have expected in the ordinary flow of circumstances or matters that now the court having found the process to be unfair, then the determination that the impeachment was lawful, then that will have been set aside. So that was the ordinary expectation of every lawyer.
In fact, that takes us back to the null and void case. David Maraga, remember?
Yes.
When the case, it was about the process.
Of course.
And that's why the election was overturned.
Yes, indeed.
Why is that this one is not overturned? And yet he was not given a chance to a fair hearing?
Well, my Lord Justice Anthony Mrima, tries to offer an explanation by saying that, we have constitutional demands and statutory demands, and compares the process of the removal of a deputy president to that process of the removal of a governor or a deputy governor, so that he creates a distinction and says that, the Constitution demands that once this has been done, this automatically happens. So that if the court, if the Senate has found that the process, that the charges levied against you were justified, and you now stand impeached, and the court does not have any business overturning that decision of impeachment, because overturning that decision of impeachment will create a confusion. The confusion in the sense that we'll be having two deputy presidents in Kenya. So we'll be having the Professor Kindiki and having Rigathi Gachagua as two deputy presidents, which was not envisaged by the framers of the Constitution. That is the explanation that is offered by my Lord Justice Anthony Mrima. But again, he goes ahead now to create the distinction with the removal of a governor by saying the removal of a governor is not done under the Constitution itself. Like, we have a statute, the County Governments Act, that gives us a formula for the removal of a governor. And that statute goes ahead and says that once an appointment has been done or is about to be done, that process can be stayed or can be stopped. So, but, because of that, now he says that you see, the Constitution gives some room to meddle with the appointment of who becomes a governor if there has been a removal process. But now the Constitution does not give us room to meddle with the process once it has been done by our senators, which I think is does not make a lot of sense to me.
Okay. The gentleman speaking is Shadrack Oboy. He's an advocate of the High Court. I did not introduce my guest. And Mheshimiwa,
by the way, don't say hi. Yes, we have a very high note.
Mheshimiwa Dedan Kitur is representing the good people of Nandi Hills. Mheshimiwa Karibu Sada.
Thank you very much.
And Oscar Mondi is the University Don, and also Oscar. This is confusing. Gentlemen, welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Let me come back. Based on what you've heard, Oscar, there is more political.
One thing, this is confusing to you and the legal man. It's not confusing to me. And before we started this conversation, Shadrack Wakili was here, and we were seated at this same station with Wakili. And I told Wakili that, you see, you're a legal mind. I'm not. I'm a political scientist. This is a political process. Why do you get impeached? Cabinet secretaries or ministers or anybody in government gets impeached by parliament because they are unpopular. That was the history of impeachment. Just because you're unpopular to the parliament, you can be impeached. They just don't like your face.
Not entirely
so. It is not.
Not entirely so.
I'm saying that is what it is, political process. What they're struggling with, and I told him that the best thing Gachagua should have done what Nixon did. Resigned before facing the impeachment proceedings. They advised him to go ahead and get impeached. I'm now advising him again. If he's your client, go and tell him to take the 50 million. Because the Court of Appeal can even be worse. The Court of Appeal might take away the 50 million that was given by the High Court. Because the thing is, what the court did yesterday, what the judges did yesterday, they acted extremely not to interfere with another branch of government. The proceedings of the legislature and the proceedings at the judiciary and the executive, we have three arms of government, and that is because of the checks and balances. Nobody should overstep. And the courts didn't overstep. And the courts knew that impeachment process is a legislative work, and the courts refused to overstep their mandates. And they only checked during the process, was anybody's rights violated? Yes, it might have been violated. Can the violation that might have happened overturn the whole thing? No, it cannot. One of the things that they indicated that impeachment process does not even happen at the Senate. It happens at the National Assembly, not the Senate. The Senate only validates. Impeachment of a governor does not happen at the Senate. It happens at the at the county assembly. That is where the prosecution is done. When the prosecution and the judgment is made by the members of the county assembly against a governor, the Senate only comes to check if there were any reasons to doubt the process, and they only validate or invalidate. So the impeachment process was done at the National Assembly and concluded there. Okay. So and now the Senate was only brought to... That is why even public participation that was done by Wakili and his team actually reminded the National Assembly that, look, before you finish the impeachment, please make sure you do a public participation, which was done. So if they could have not reminded the National Assembly, that could have been a very strong case in the courts. Okay. But they reminded the National Assembly that I should go and do what? A public participation, and it was done. And that was why everything was validated. But again, I'm telling Wakili, this one is not for people who went to Parklands University. Okay. Graduating, political science, it's politics, and impeachment is a political process.
Wakili, you'll have your right of reply to that.
Thank you, thank you.
When you listen to this, to all this, it means that the National Assembly has got an upper hand.
Absolutely, and I think we were given in the entire judgment, which I think, and I like what's happening in our country these days, where things are now put in the open, and for that judgment to have been rendered, for all those close to 10 hours, I think it was also for because it was a public interest case. Yes, it was for every Kenyan to feel satisfied that this is, laying bare every process and every step, and I'm so glad that. The National Assembly was given the bill of health, that we did the right thing from the start to the end, except for that particular aspect of the administrative action on the part of the Senate, which in my view was created. I think the lawyers advised their client that get sick or create some, we know them, and at that time they had also this guy who is very good in arts. The gentleman was been writing a lot of scripts, so probably they advised that, look, because the things are really getting bad for you, let's create some story here. And he found himself in hospital, and and around that time also there was also one of the members of parliament. You remember when they were creating these things of abduction, and so even one of the members of parliament abducted himself and went to the same hospital where the former deputy president went into. So of course, so trying now to say that there is still another window of opportunity, yet actually in the High Court they deal with the facts. you know, the details, the facts, when it will now come to the Court of Appeal, it will be more of the law, whether the law has been applied, which in my view is actually dead in arrival. But of course, the other thing also, you expect that these are politicians. So what you'll be expecting them to do is just to be able to have to be a conversation. Like even today, it's a conversation that we're having. So they're enjoying the limelight. But in my view, it is done. And one thing I also appreciate is going into the future and into the posterity, it shall be known that anybody who occupies any office in our country must know that they are, you can never be independent, you depend on others as well. So the kind of mistreatment that we all got when the former deputy president was the deputy president, I think, and I agree with Oscar, that these are political officers that you need to also have good relations with people, even as much as you are, you know, rendering the works, respect other jurisdictions as well. So in my view, that judgment, we welcome it. Now, I think we are going now to be hearing change of narratives, because I've had some people talk about something like 2-term, you hear 1-term, and then now we're going to have now a half-term conversation now coming in. Wow. So it's going to be quite interesting going into the future. But I want to agree with you, Oscar, that we advise our friend Wakili Shadrack.
I personally told him.
Lawyers cannot be advising.
We want to, we are politicians, so we just give our layman advice to you that you advised him before.
That particular day I told him, but I think they came up with that idea of rushing to Karen Hospital, which was not a very good strategy, because in politics about strategies. I mean, the strategy they used of this getting this guy to hospital was the worst ever. The best for Gachagua was to resign before impeachment. That was my best advice as a political scientist. I mean, that was my best advice. But the legal minds are for the paycheck.
Yes,
and you see,
they don't want to be advised.
They don't want to be advised. It's about
but even that, even
they're going to appeal another paycheck.
His Excellency Rigathi Gachagua also has a right for a fair hearing.
Yes, of course. Yes,
and I also have a right, because I advised him, but because he received something today from the paycheck, we can get something out of it.
Victor,
it seems you're in a straight jacket today.
I think my friend here, Oscar, is misleading the viewers and the listeners at home. He's, in other words, rewriting the verdict that was written by the court. Number one, remember, the court found that the Senate, having declined the request by His Excellency Rigathi Gachagua to have the proceedings adjourned because he had been admitted at the Karen Hospital, was in itself a violation to his right to a fair process. So it doesn't, I mean, whatever my colleagues here are saying, that he was ill-advised to be taken in hospital was wrong. I mean, the arguments do not make sense as far as the final outcome of the court has, you know, what the outcome of the court was yesterday. So in other words, what I'm trying to say is this. Number one, the assertions that, you know, His Excellency Gachagua being admitted to hospital was his own creation, but not a medical emergency. That assertion has been thrown out of the window. The court arrived at the conclusion that indeed there was a medical emergency, and for that reason, the Senate acted improperly by proceeding with the proceedings in his absence. That is number one. Number two, I want to clarify something for the benefit of the members of the public. I know we were here 2 years ago with Oscar and some other gentlemen. And of course, Oscar's political position has been the same. He has not changed. It does not surprise me much. But I know in the fullness of time he's going to understand what I'm saying. The reason we have superior courts over and above the High Court is because we acknowledge that man is to err. We acknowledge that we have men and women. However learned they are also susceptible to making mistakes at the High Court. So we have another avenue called the Court of Appeal, where we have other more learned and more experienced judges that are going to relook at the matters, not entirely on the questions about law alone, but to reevaluate and to reconsider even the facts that were presented before the court, so that they can arrive at their own independent conclusions on the matters that were before the High Court. Again, we also have the opportunity of going to the Supreme Court, so that the court can determine this issue one way or another. But what is important this morning for our listeners and probably our viewers to understand, and this had been my submissions before the court, that, you know, the process of impeachment is a unique process. That is what you heard lawyers say, sui generis. It's unique because, number one, it is a constitutional process because it is done in the name of the Constitution. Mheshimiwa here were doing, they came up with this motion, they passed it, the motion for the removal of Deputy President, in the name of the Constitution under Article 144. So they were not doing it outside the four corners of the Constitution. So it is a constitutional process, but has a political character. What now Don is saying, Oscar is of the view that if I don't like your red tie, that can be a ground for impeachment. Of course, those have been the arguments, politically speaking. But again, there are two ways in which the courts have arrived at this, have analyzed certain outcomes. Number one, the court, as this court did, the court said it is not going to delve into the merits of what was discussed before the National Assembly. And Mheshimiwa, hapo mko sawa. You can decide whatever you do. The only catch where the Supreme Court has said, especially in the Mike Mbuvi Sonko decision and Kawira Mwangaza's decision, the court have said, well, as a general rule, the court is not going to relook at the merits or otherwise of why the decision has been made that you need to be impeached. But again, if it appears that the decision to impeach you or the grounds were so absurd, like what now Don is saying, that he does not like the color of your tie. That in itself can lead now the court to reopen and to have a merit review of the decision that was made by the National Assembly or by the County Assembly or the Senate for that matter. So those are unique situations. But this one is not one of those unique situations. So what the court did, the court only looked at the process. So and found that the process at the Senate was unprocedural. So now one wonders, why then would you be saying, if it was unprocedural, take 50 million. Take 50 million, and again, the decision that was made, being a fruit of the poisonous tree, becomes again legal. How?
In my view, I think there were 7 key issues that were
of course,
dealt with. And there were only 2 issues that you succeeded. The other 5 were dispensed. So clearly, you have to just create where you can begin hanging on, and you keep hanging on this issue of Senate and jumping up and around that. And clearly, I and Oscar have said that they had to create something, and of saying, the Deputy President has, healthy issue. We all know, but let's just believe, with that anyway, so they go hanging on the same. We expect also, of course, that they will get to go to the Court of Appeal, but all Kenyans they listened to the case as it was being, processed, and clearly there is no future, but you have a window, in my view, if that is, and I would also agree with Oscar, that please take the best that in our, general view, we may not be as legalistic as you are, but if you take the 50 million, it could be the best thing you could do for yourselves, but saying that you want to try that, and probably also anyway, maybe they are still also trying to find a way of hanging on to maybe Court of Appeal to still get something that they can find themselves if they can get into the ballot in 2027, and of course maybe still try to remain relevant in one way or the other for them to try and participate in the next general elections.
Is there a case of political bias here?
No, wait. What is arriving at and what Wakili is asking here, that nothing bars him from participating? That is a big question. The big question is, Gachagua able to be in the ballot in 2027? Wakili, I know you're a legal guy. You see, nothing bars him. I think from my understanding of this case yesterday, Gachagua stands impeached. He cannot participate in the elections. Whatever happened at the ICC when Uhuru Kenyatta and William Ruto were allowed to participate in the elections, and Waluke, for example, these were legal cases. And I've told you, impeachment is not a legal case by its merits. And there's a difference. Because if you're facing a legal case like Waluke, and now you are out of bail pending an appeal, he was allowed to contest. But if you've been impeached
and completely out of office,
you cannot be in the ballot. And whatever was found, for example, the seven issues, for me, like the case of Raila Odinga versus IEBC in 2022, I think Julie Soweto and the others sees the fingers of somebody called Jose Camargo inside the servers, right? But the case was done like this. They say, even if they were sitting there, did it merit the entire election to be invalidated? That yes, there was that evidence. Like in this case, there was this small evidence. Was the court able to invalidate the entire impeachment process because of the violation that was done? And the court, in its own mind, feels that, okay, there was a small problem, but 99% of this is right.
Okay. I'm just trying to think out loud. Wakili.
Yes.
What would have happened if that decision was quashed and he's reinstated?
No, of course, you know, in court, you cannot be given what you've not prayed for. It's just like prayer to God. If you are the one who is praying for, if you are praying like me to become the member of parliament of Kajara North, that is what God is going to give me. He cannot send me to Nandi. You understand?
Right.
So what His Excellency Rigathi Gachagua did in his amended petition, he amended and removed the request for a reinstatement.
All right.
He said instead he wants to be compensated for the violation of his rights. So that in itself tells the court that, you see, that is why I'm telling you the ultimate decision that was made by my Lord Justice Anthony Mrima, whom I respect, and I've learned a lot from him. I find his decision to be very confusing because with a concession having come from the first petitioner, the former deputy president,
yes,
that he does not want to be reinstated. Now saying that you cannot now do away or declare to be unconstitutional the outcome of the impeachment because of the flaws of the procedure, or because you think that it is going to create a confusion where we are going to have two deputy presidents. Right. You see that is just oxymoronic.
Okay.
Yeah? So, and lastly, perhaps before, you know, Oscar is trying to confuse the people. We need to help the people to understand the true position of the law.
Just hold that. Can you hold that? I want to serve you tea.
Yeah, I should just hold
I'm a good man.
Just hold. Oscar is my friend, but I owe him a duty.
Let's take a quick break. More after this. Stay with us.
Kila mwisho wa juma kwenye runinga yako ya KBC Channel 1
tunakuletea Mkulima.
Ni kipindi cha kila mtu,
iwe wewe ni mkulima mdogo, mkulima mkubwa, muuzaji au mnunuzi,
au yeyote anayenuia kuanzisha kilimo ama ufugaji. Tazama Mkulima kila Jumamosi saa 10:30,
ambapo kilimo na fursa zinapatikana.
We do not have a special society, you know. So it has to start with us.
We still have a large number of people who doesn't know the rights of persons with disability. We still have a large number of people who are not exposed. Parents and guardians, they are still hiding persons with disability.
Nimekuwa na challenge moja tu ya kumpeleka shule. Juu shule yenye ameitwa ni huko Kilimani. Ukimpeleka shule za huku unakuambia wataki mtoto haoni. Juu eti tukimweka huko kwa class ni kumpotezea wakati.
We want to get rid of those areas and the normal way people look at people with disabilities, the way they charge them.
As a 3-time survivor of preeclampsia, a life-threatening pregnancy condition, this hits very close to home. Our panelist, Dr. Akintola, was one of the physicians who actually helped me deliver In fact, she performed the incision on my C-section, and I'm so grateful for her.
No matter what stage of life you're in, there are 3 things you need to know. 1, you are not crazy. 2, you are not alone. And 3, this will pass.
All right, and welcome back. If you're just joining us, it's now, we all have cups of tea. Will you have yours? Wakili, you're now good, right?
Yes, thank you.
Very good.
Thank you very kindly.
If you're just, Oscar, you're getting yours. Don't worry.
No, I'll get
Okay. All right, Bedat Kitur, Member of Parliament, Nadi Hills joining us, Shadrack Komboi, Advocate of the High Court, also one of the lawyers presenting the petitioners, and Oscar Mondi, who is a university don. Okay, so, Wakili, continue.
Yes, I was saying something. You know, an assertion was made by my colleague here, the university don, Mr. Oscar, that now, because of the verdict that we received yesterday, the former deputy president does not stand a chance of presenting himself as a candidate in the forthcoming general election. Now, what is true, at least legally speaking, is this, that until and unless he has exhausted all avenues of appeal and review on the decision that was made by the High Court yesterday, he still stands a chance of seeking for any elective position.
Even before getting the Court of Appeal decision?
Exactly.
And you know how laborious court processes can be?
Exactly.
We are only 15 months away to the ballot process.
The person that has the final say of whether the decision made by senators and the National Assembly collectively was proper in the eyes of the law is the Supreme Court.
Okay.
So unless the Supreme Court makes a determination on this question, then the door still is open for whoever has been impeached.
Whatever Wakili is talking about is not meant for this forum. It is meant for Gachagwa's house when they sit there and convince him that you can still go to the ballot and they can give them a paycheck because of that reasoning. That reasoning
is the law. Is the law. It's
the
not
law
politics.
says that so long as you've been impeached, even as a CEC at the county government, so long as you've been impeached, you are not allowed to be a state officer for a period of 10 years.
That is the same case as Mike Sonko?
He was impeached.
No, you see, Mike Sonko's issue is different. Mike Sonko, the decision as to whether he was properly impeached by the Senate was affirmed, or rather a verdict was returned by the Supreme Court. Remember, it was a month or so before the 2022 general election. And the Supreme Court held that he was properly impeached. So his case is closed. He's now someone who is suffering life imprisonment, in the eyes of the public, especially when it comes to the elective offices.
Yes.
So Mike Mbuvi Sonko, His Excellency, he cannot be elected for any position. He cannot even be employed as a sweeper in any government organization or body. However, the case is not the same with Rigathi Gachagua, because Rigathi Gachagua's issue has not been determined by the apex court within the Republic of Kenya. So I will just make reference to Article 193.3 of the Constitution, so that this is not just political. I told him that in as much as it's a political process, it is also a constitutional process.
Okay. The question is, so according to you, His Excellency Rigathi Gachagua can still contest for an office, an elective position?
It's not according to me. It's according to the Constitution.
All right.
You know, so mine is to voice what is written in the Constitution.
Can you read this?
There's an open window for him to vie.
Yes.
Can you read this one so that we are at par?
Just a letter.
193.3.
Just look it.
As you do that, Mheshimiwa, perhaps this one is setting a very serious precedence, because now the National Assembly has an upper hand and you are the final.
Correct.
The Senate will only have to go through, do a sweeping effect.
Correct.
And check what the National Assembly did.
Yes.
Don't you think you are setting a very serious precedent even for the future candidates? That it can be politically instigated, that then now it goes to the National Assembly, where you go to the Senate, and you're out.
In my view, not quite. I think we are just exercising our duty. And I did say it earlier. This is calling on every leader in whatever position you've been given to serve in our country to only act within the law and have some reasonability in how you handle the issues. That probably brings in now where there's an aspect where there are ethics and levels of how you need to operate.
Yes.
You don't get into any seat that you've been given and you go over your head, believing that you have power and you can misbehave the way you want. I was keenly trying to check on that Article 193 of the Constitution as Wakili was trying to defend his client. And I want to tell him that we will not continue to get the National Assembly being demeaned when they exercise their duty. They did their work. The courts have affirmed that we did our work as such in that ruling yesterday. And of course, as it were, they want to try and do that in the court. They want to go to the Court of Appeal. I think clearly it is firm and sealed that Rigathi Gachagua was impeached. And therefore, I do not see any iota or a window in whatever manner that Gachagua will want to try and vie for any political seat in our country. But I leave them to the political jargons, I mean to the, the court jargons they will want to try and follow and the legalistic nature. And I was trying to read this Article 193, which Wakil is trying to put across. But that not belabored. I think Parliament has set the bar too high, just as also the county assemblies of those that have been able to present governors who did whatever was not right, and they were impeached. And I think going into the future, I see a brighter Kenya, a better country in terms of governance. I repeat again, the power now still rests with the people because, as it were, we are in Parliament representing the people who sent us. So anybody, the power of the people will always stand high. And as put forward by the
I think the court said that the representation, the power of the people was represented by the National Assembly. Right?
Yes, of course. They
as a part of public participation.
Yes, they exercise direct sovereign power.
Right.
In fact, you see, unlike some members of the executive, these ones are direct speakers of what is in the heart of the people. The problem always has been that, like where I come from, the MP has not been speaking on our behalf. He's been speaking on his behalf of his stomach. So you cannot say he is representing us, really.
I don't know if in our country's history, the courts have... the courts that we have today, have we had an impeachment case? Because we've had several, where the courts have overturned an impeachment process or an impeachment after the Senate has impeached. Do you have that evidence anywhere? Where the courts come and overstep parliamentary work and overturn an impeachment that is complete from start to finish. No case in this. This might be the first case in history where the court oversteps. Currently, Ramaphosa of South Africa is going through the same process of an impeachment process. Pala.
Yeah.
And in the Pala case, the courts find him that he did illegal stuff. But the courts have no rights to impeach him. The courts have sent the case back to Parliament that create an impeachment committee within Parliament. It's only Parliament that has the responsibility to impeach or not. It is not the work of the courts to impeach parliamentarians. The same legal team that you see around Gachagua sent Mwangaza home because of lying to her. The same guys. And you see, there are these lawyers who want to do small things for Twitter, that this is judicial nonsense, because you'll be trending on Twitter anyway because of that, saying that silly things in front of the courts. But the same guys lied to Mwangaza and made Mwangaza get impeached. Victor, you're not a politician. The worst thing that should happen to you as a politician is get impeached. Because you will go forever.
Yeah.
Never to be seen again.
Okay.
So I think Gachagua's fate is done and dusted. With age and whatever is going to tell, even Central Kenya, the Mrima that is under his DCP and whatever, he has a story, yes, he can have this narrative of the appeal case and the appeal court and the Supreme Court for the sake of the elections.
Okay. So now what happens? That's my next question. What next? Because now it's going to get political. Probably you're waiting to hear a press briefing today, tomorrow, whichever day. Yeah. But now what next? Mheshimiwa, are you ready for what next?
United opposition is seriously dented. Clearly, there is no hope, there is no future for them. Because they were banking on...
Just by this...
Yeah. I mean, it was one of the things they were really trying to hang on, and all of us knew it was a weak sun.
You know how you do this game?
It was a quicksand.
You can twist it.
It was a quicksand they were standing on. We still remain extremely strong on the broad-based government. And the other day also I heard my friend Cleophas Malala. I'm told that there was a big problem. On the other side, he was being guided that the party that we have only belongs to a particular section of our country.
Was impeached.
So he's really suffering out there, but we are inviting him to come back home. Come back to the broad-based government where everybody is accommodated. We are not on the agenda of tribalizing or setting one community or one region as if it's higher than the other. So, in my view, quite unfortunate. So, for the United Opposition, this is a serious dent. But we are ready for them even as we go into the future. There is no hope for Gachagua, no hope whatsoever that he will ever vie for any political seat or serve Kenyans because, of course, we chased him. And all Kenyans have actually. I want Kenyans to really know the kind of a leader, the kind of a tribalistic leader that he was able to demonstrate.
He can still play a key role.
He can still play a key role with that kind of a mindset of tribalizing our country and trying to, create sectarianism. So, in my view, you asked what is the future? Hopeless for Gachagua, hopeless for the United Opposition. The broad-based government, you have a great chance to still welcome everyone else and all Kenyans to come together so can be able to work under the President, His Excellency William Samoei Ruto has been uniting Kenyans.
There's no hope for him.
No. The Constitution. The Constitution is a document. Mheshimiwa and Oscar, they are politicians. They just take a stand and they want to maintain that stand. I mean, politicians are something else. but you see, I'm here in my capacity as a lawyer, and I will tell you that the Constitution is a document that gives hopes to the hopeless. That is why we have the Constitution. It gives the person who feels offended so many avenues and opportunities of seeking legal redress. Remember, this is a process that began in October, I think, 2024, sorry. 2024.
Yes.
So from the National Assembly, the Senate, now we've gone to the court. The High Court has given us its determination in 350 pages. We will read it because we've not read it. There could be some things that the court might have skipped during the process of reading. So it's important that we get to read and understand in full flavor the contents of that 350 court decision. Then from that, we frame our legal issues at the Court of Appeal. Then at the Court of Appeal, will probably take approximately six months. By the end of this year, or the beginning of next year, we should be having a determination, one way or another, from the Court of Appeal.
I just have just a wild question.
Yes.
So you go to the Court of Appeal.
Yes.
Let's fast forward. You go to the Court of Appeal. The Court of Appeal, decides and say, the High Court add in this and this and that, and so Rigathi Gachagua is reinstated. I'm just trying to imagine, wildly speaking.
Don't over-imagine.
Don't over-imagine. Okay.
And I've told you that question about reinstatement is not here. Because he has said he does not want reinstatement.
Okay.
So if he does not want reinstatement, what he does, he just wants the court to set aside the finding by the Senate that he was impeached.
But Wakili, you must allow yourself to be Wakili and not the judge. You went there as a lawyer.
And
you must give yourself room that the judges are seated there.
Hold. Yes. So now what happens if that is set aside, that is starts impeached? That will give him that leeway to contest in 2027.
To do what?
No, I've said the situation even as it is does not preclude or bar him from participating in the 2027 elections. Listen, Victor, these are legal positions. These are not lawyers.
No.
So we can excuse them.
This is
now
not
number
a
two,
process.
Number two, Oscar, please. I have the mic. Number two, number one, I have said the situation as it is does not bar him from participating in an elective position or elections in this country. That is number one.
Why do you give him
number
time
two,
listen.
Number two, I am the lawyer. I am the one who is speaking with a position of authority, at least from our law.
And this was what conversing.
Number two, even as we go to the Court of Appeal, the Court of Appeal will have its chance. The person with the final say, and I think I'm repeating myself, is the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court is the one that is going to say, well, the advantage or the advantage that we're giving to you as someone who is, you are now termed as innocent until your guilt is proven.
What happens is, Victor, let me tell you. Before I came to this show, wait. Before I came to this show, I had to do some reading to analyze. That's why I said Nixon, what happened, Nixon, the history of impeachment. There was somebody called Montesquieu who came up with
separation
of powers. And the separation of powers is very clear. Who does what, when, and how? Yes. What does the legislature do? What does the judiciary do? They interpret the Constitution. This headline is written what? Read in red.
Impeachment upheld.
Impeachment upheld.
Correct.
So the lawyer can tell us what is the meaning of the word. Sorry about this one.
Impeachment upheld.
So the lawyer can tell us what is his understanding of this statement, impeachment upheld. For now, and what we do in politics, for example, when we discuss about what happens in infrastructure, for example, we discuss if elections are held today, who will be the president, for example. We are looking at in case the impeachments, the elections are held today. For example, what we are dealing with today, what Wakil is talking about is these issues tomorrow at Appeals Court and Supreme Court. You discussed that, you invited me to come and discuss today. Today, impeachment upheld. While the impeachment is upheld, he cannot be in the ballot.
Yeah.
When the impeachment is upheld. What I've asked you again, in our country's history, do we have any time when the courts have overstepped and done anything against what Parliament has done in terms of impeachment? No impeachment. So long as the Senate is complete. When the impeachment is complete, and what has happened in South Africa and all these cases, if you look at the history of impeachment everywhere else in the UK, in the US, it's a cumbersome process, a political process, and it's never done so much on merit. As I told you, unpopularity of a member of a CS or a cabinet secretary can lead to an impeachment. That is it.
Thank you.
I just want to buttress what Victor is saying.
Oscar
is saying, but equally as well, what Wakili is trying to do here, he actually started by saying that the courts is meant to give hope. You heard that very well, and given an opportunity, I can hire him also to be my lawyer if I have issues to be encouraged, because I think what they do is they like encouraging and helping you so they can take money.
He is my lawyer myself.
Oh yeah, so he can be helping me, and I'm actually going to take him also, very intelligent. But actually on this aspect of Gachagwa's case, it is done and sealed. Gachagua is impeached. He cannot be able to vie for any seat in our country. And even if you want to go to whatever levels you're talking about, Gachagua right now stands impeached. And I want to agree with you. The separation of powers, where we have the courts doing their thing, Parliament doing also their thing, but you are not supposed to come and overstep. What the courts were just doing is just see if the process was done was done fairly well, and a decision had to be reached. That is why when they are trying now to hang on the 2 points, one of them being the one for, the Senate, that the process, continued, a decision had to be rendered. And a decision was rendered by the judges, having looked at all aspects of it. And therefore, I want to also agree that in all the, whether it is the county assemblies that have been able to do the impeachment processes, and those that have been done, and now this one that was done by the National Assembly, none indeed has the courts been able to nullify. So I want to also agree that if whatever it will take, it is clear cut. You might want to just take the money from your client, but clearly Kenyans must know. Gachagua is not going to be
also, Victor. Another thing also, Victor. When we were with him 2 years ago, there were 23 cases that were put in different courts in Kiambu, in wherever. There were almost 23 cases. All the courts had to say that you have to allow Parliament to finish its process. When your rights shall have been violated, you will come for an interpretation. They don't judge. Even whatever happened yesterday, the courts interpret the law. But the lawmakers make the law. But the courts interpret. So make sure that you let the proceedings and the impeachment process go ahead. They tried to put an injunction many times to stop the process of impeachment. But the courts didn't want to overstep. And the courts refused. We are not going to overstep. Let Parliament finish. When Parliament finishes, bring it to us.
So now
the court saw there was violation.
Let's move on a little bit. So now what happens? Because we've heard how he spoke on Sunday. He said he was going to accept the court's verdict, whichever way it goes. So now, sorry, Wakili?
Yeah, Victor, you need to be fair so that we can balance the scales of justice. I think Mheshimiwa and Oscar have had a chance of biting at this cherry. You also give me an opportunity, especially...
A case of fair hearing.
Thank you.
So he said, now let me go back to the question. What do you think is going to be the implication ahead of the 2027? Because this is now going to be politics. Let's just open it up.
Make sure you ask Wakili the political implication,
that
not
is
the
what
legal
I'm asking.
implication now.
That is what I'm asking.
The legal he has told us, but the political ramification.
It's now open field.
Oscar is going to be
turbocharged and all that.
Yes, these ones are the politicians. So if I fell in error when it comes to matters politics, I should be forgiven. But when it comes to legal matters, at least I should be given the opportunity. Now, a case has been made by my two colleagues, and I think they have argued it quite persuasively, that when it comes to questions about separation of powers, every arm of government has the duty. It has an obligation of respecting decisions that have been made by one of the bodies. That is true. In fact, if you review the arguments that were made by senior counsel Professor Githu Muigai, they were extensively to demonstrate the Montesquieu school of thought, that we have a separation of powers. If we have the judiciary should be allowed to work independently, the legislature and the executive, so that if a decision was arrived at by our legislature, now being parliament encompassing the National Assembly and the Senate, then their decision should be respected. Professor Githu Muigai went to a great extent to demonstrate that whatever business happened in those courts, in those bodies, should not be interfered with by the court. And that is the argument that is being made by my colleagues here. But it is important that I highlight that even while we have not read the decision itself, but at least we have heard what the judges have read to us. And one thing is for sure, that the court established that indeed the question about separation of powers and independence of our arms of government does not necessarily mean independence from constitutional accountability.
Right.
And when we have constitutional accountability, the people or the body that has the final say as to whatever is right in law or wrong in the eyes of the law is the courts of law, our judiciary, especially the High Court under Article 165. It has the duty of determining questions whether anything that has been done in the name of the Constitution has been done as the law so requires.
Yes.
So the argument that the court did not have or cannot review what has happened at the Senate is not made properly.
Okay.
So in summary, what I'm trying to say, especially in that question, is this: that if there was any constitutional infraction, as we saw, then the courts had a duty, as they have done. They have discharged that duty by finding that there was a violation and awarding damages. And it's awarding damages. My Lord Justice Anthony Mrima said that words in itself are not sufficient. So that if words are not sufficient, then the award of a compensation will be desirable under circumstances where one's rights have been violated. As we saw, 50 million shillings was awarded. But over and above that, the question that there is, and I think the question that we are going to ask the Court of Appeal and probably even moving forward, is with that finding, was that finding now enough to establish that now, because there was a violation of the petitioner, the first petitioner's right to a fair trial, was that now sufficient now to render the final outcome of the impeachment process unconstitutional?
Okay.
So that is really what is up for discussion in the court.
When you go through a divorce case, for example, the person who is aggrieved in the divorce case can be awarded and compensated because of the injuries and damages that they get. But the court does not have the right to reverse that divorce. The divorce is done. Divorce is between these two people. The court doesn't have that right. So the court is saying that the impeachment process is not ours to decide. It is for the legislature to decide. Otherwise, the rights that were violated here, we can check.
I asked a question. So what are the political implications?
The political implication is very... Wakili Mheshimiwa answered a bit, but for me, the political implication is very simple. One, it gives the united opposition a bit of leeway. At least because they had very many candidates. And they were in a struggle to decide who becomes the flag bearer. one of the flag bearers, the prospective flag bearers, is already down. So we remained with Matiang'i and Kalonzo and probably Eugene Wamalwa. Gachagua is out of the question. So it is good for them to make that decision now. Who else? Do we have Maraga or wherever? So it is easy for them now, because the problem of the opposition in the last 5 elections, when Raila and the rest have been, and Kalonzo, have always been two problems: the party primaries and choice of a flag bearer.
Yes,
it has always been a headache of the opposition. You know, the ruling party, which is Kenya Kwanza or coalition, already has a flag bearer and I think a running mate. But the United Opposition or wherever have not decided on a flag bearer and a running mate. Now, Gachagua's position, because Gachagua, if the impeachment upheld, that means he cannot be a speaker, he cannot be a CS, he cannot be nothing. He is impeached, cannot be a state officer for the next 10 years. So the thing is, he's completely off. He cannot, I don't know if he can be a party leader. But the thing is, because of this impeachment, now the politics of the day is that the central Kenya, where Gachagua controls, yes, he can use this one again because of this narrative, that they're going to appeal skills, this is injustice, to rally and have propaganda and misinformation, so that he radicalizes that part of the country. That there's been an injustice that will be done here. We are targeted. They will even go that those judges were paid and blah, blah, blah. And those courts are evil courts. And the people will be sympathy.
And you think that is going to be the house, the
on Sunday,
you
will go there and say that, okay, this is a target against the community.
To spin the narrative.
Yes.
Rigathi Gachagua is about 61 years old now.
Yes.
The time he will have an opportunity probably is when he will be 71 years old. Probably he might have the chance to try again. Within this period, as rightly put, Kenyans now will, those in opposition, there will be a scramble for the pie, where now the votes of Gachagua is going, the basket in which it will be taken into. Of course, I saw also one former Justice, Chief Justice Maraga yesterday, Justice David Maraga. I've been looking at him here.
Emeritus.
Emeritus, and it was extremely shameful what I saw when he was being dragged, a former Chief Justice being dragged, and the trouser was half down there, and we could see, the contours and things that can make Kenyans really, it can create a curse in our customary, when the kind of misbehavior we were seeing, or the kind of things that we saw while being arrested, and the kind of shame that he demonstrated. And in fact, I was even feeling, when you've been in this position, that you've been a Chief Justice, a very respectful position, you need to behave respectfully as well, but that is up to him. So part of the people, I don't think Kenyans would want to associate with such. So the game is getting better and hotter as we go along. As it were, I want to agree with also the political scientist who has really analyzed well and said, now there will be reduction on the number of aspirants and candidates. But also, there is going to be a serious shift in terms of the support base, because no Kenyan will want to associate with a losing team. Kenyans want to always see where is the agenda. So many people who are aligned to Gachagua, now their home, the doors were still very open where they came from. So now there's going to be a serious shift. Even in those places, various of those places, there is going to be a serious shift back to broad-based government. With this one, because the other team is hopeless. They competed with William Ruto when William Ruto was the deputy president, and he was actually sidelined at that time. You remember? But now he's in government. He's running so many projects. So I'm going to tell you, with this, there is going to be an extremely serious shift towards the broad-based government.
To be honest, Victor, politics fears vacuum. But Gachagua has created a very big vacuum among his supporters, and there's no hope now.
Hopeless.
There's no hope. Secondly, whatever happens in this, whatever you said about Maraga, I discussed with you, Victor, when we were discussing here, whether Uhuru Kenyatta can come back and play politics. And I told you, there is a political thing that after retirement, you have spent your time. Somebody like Kalonzo Musyoka,
productive time.
I think not even productive time. what we should be able to discuss, even on the wage bill, your second term member, first term member? First term member, and whatever Wetangula was talking about the other day, that more than 70% of our members of parliament lose. And when they lose, for example, somebody loses after serving 2 terms, and he served as young as he is now, he gets into parliament, then he retires after 10 years. Then he enjoys retirement benefit for the next 70 years. Uhuru Kenyatta, Kalonzo Musyoka, Raila Odinga, now Ido Odinga, these guys are enjoying retirement packs. But they're still, even Maraga is enjoying retirement packs from our resources. But he's there doing all this. I think somebody who was retired as a Chief Justice, Mutunga, Maraga, Uhuru Kenyatta, people who've retired, Wako, who was a good Attorney General, please take a rest.
We tell you that they
please
have
retire. Please retire.
No, Oscar. They have got right of association, right of,
But don't politics. Look at the shame. Look at the shame demonstrated by David Maraga yesterday. Extremely shameful. I told you, I would not see that video. I closed my eyes because we are cousins, we are Africans. You cannot see the nakedness of an old man of that stature.
Sorry, Wakili. Sorry for today,
Yes, right of reply. I mean, you see, you've just brought me.
In 30 seconds, we are done.
I am living in a den of lions here. but I mean, what is important is, especially in highlighting what became of, the CJ Emeritus, David Kenani Maraga. I think that is quite unfortunate, the manner in which the arrest was being conducted. Our constitution. No, listen. We will need a speaker here. So, if you interrogate very keenly the writings of our constitution, the constitution, particularly under Article 49, requires that when we are conducting an arrest, it should be done in a dignifying manner. Dignifying manner is to mean that, you see, you have some rights as an arrested person. If you've violated any law in this country, there are modes or modalities through which you're supposed to be arrested. And we have borrowed this from America. It's something called the Miranda rights. So Miranda versus Arizona, the court came up with the style in which one should be arrested.
Okay.
And you should not be arrested by that, what we call Tanganyika Jeki. Someone just holding your trouser.
But
it's so wrong.
The people who get arrested should be dignified also.
I must also clarify that I am among the lawyers that are representing the majority of the people who were arrested yesterday.
Yes.
And will be returning to the Langata police station on the 22nd.
Okay.
On the 22nd day of this month.
Okay.
Yesterday, Sankara and David Maraga and the others that were arrested were released on their own personal bond. They were just told, you go home, we'll come back. And that should tell you, number one, that there was no law that they appeared to have broken. Because if indeed there was a law that they had violated, they will be presented or arraigned before the court today. So we've just given them time to go and investigate the matter. So if there is an issue, then action can be taken against it.
So after all this said and done, these are my final orders as the judge. My final orders.
No, there is just one thing. There is something that has been said about retirement. There is something that has been said about retirement. We are here to also guide the viewers. The retirement.
We are done with the show.
If you are retired, it does not necessarily mean that you have now waived the enjoyment of all your other rights. In fact, I am in court. Sheria Mtani went to court, to Kiambu High Court, and will be returning the beginning of the month of July. On that question about the retirement benefits of His Excellency Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, we just need to set the record straight. Not for Uhuru Kenyatta. We are not setting the record straight for Rigathi Gachagua. We are setting the record straight for the future of this country.
That people retire,
one day, Mheshimiwa is going to be the president of this country.
Okay.
And once he's retired, we will also want to hear his voice. Especially now that we do not have very robust representation in parliament.
Sheria Mtani is overstepping.
No.
We just want to correct the future of this country.
We are done. These are the final ruling. This is my final ruling. Thank you so much. Mheshimiwa Bernard Kitur, asante sana for coming. People of Nandi Hills, he's doing a good job. Msipomona constituency, he's here.
But very importantly, he's a very good lawyer. I will want to hire him actually from tomorrow.
And very naughty. Shanta Kwamboy, thank you so much. No, I take back my word. I apologize. Live on air. And Oscar Mondi, thank you so much for coming. All right. Okay, so that's where we wrap it up. Okay, court dismissed. Have a good morning.
Lights on, volume up. This is where stories come alive. From local drama that hits close to home.
Alinivamia akiwa na vijana wengine wawili. Toka nje. Hii nyumba yako. Yote ni porojo.
To international series everyone's talking about. Stories that pull you in. Characters you won't forget.
Stop complaining and just get out of here. Go now. Go, go.
We turn up the volume with music that moves, showcases rising stars, and bring the beat straight to your living room. And when it's time to talk, we don't hold back.
How is everything going?
Real conversations, big personalities, the issues, the loves, the moment everyone's debating the next day. Every show, every night, different voices, one destination. This is television that feels alive, unpredictable, and missable.
In a world where news is ever changing, staying informed is more important than ever.
Join us every week on News Check, your go-to show for the latest in current affairs, breaking news, and in-depth analysis.
A warm welcome to KBC News Check.
From politics to global events, we bring you content that matter to you.
We're not just speaking about the governance and how we want to see it, but want to actually participate.
Get your facts, hear from the experts, and really understand what is happening around you.
We need to change our system first. You have to do the impossible to make sure the message is home.
Stay ahead, stay informed, stay engaged.
Will these people, everybody agree?
Just listen to me.
Let's give him a chance to clear the air.
Catch News Check every Tuesday and Wednesday from 10 a.m. to 12 noon. Only on KBC Channel 1. Looking to advertise on KBC? KBC announcement services are now available on eCitizen. Visit kbc.ecitizen.go.ke and fill out the online application form. It's simple. 1. Complete the form. 2. Upload required documents. 3. Receive a quotation based on word count. And 4. Get notified via SMS when your announcement is ready. Please note, clearly indicate the type of announcement, service station, and all relevant details. 2. All applications must be made online only. Manual submissions will not be accepted. And 3. Announcements will air after news bulletins. For assistance, reach us on email ecitizen@kbc.co.ke or use our social media handles, Facebook, your Facebook account, and X at your X account. Or you can call us on 0723 892 654 or 0734 780 124. KBC announcements. Simple, fast, and digital.
Many thanks for joining us right here on KBC Channel 1. You are still watching Good Morning Kenya. My name is Mike Migwith. Let's talk matters accreditation. Now, on the 9th of June every year, we mark the World Accreditation Day. And this year's World Accreditation Day theme rests on innovation, trust, and sustainability, exploring the power of accreditation. And it comes at a time when governments, businesses, regulators, and consumers are dealing with three major issues, one of which is how to adopt the emerging technology, and also the aspect of knowing which claims and certifications can be trusted, and by extension, how to verify sustainability commitments, especially in an era of greenwashing. That is the conversation that I'm going to have today with none other than Stanislaus Masinza, who is a manager, calibration laboratories at Kenya Accreditation Service. Karibu sana.
Thank you.
How are you doing this morning?
I'm well, thank you.
Yes, baridi imeingia. We are in that season.
Yes. Thank you.
Now, let's talk about accreditation. Maybe for a person who doesn't really understand or know what accreditation is, what is accreditation and why does it matter beyond laboratories and technical institutions?
Thank you, Mike. I'll start first of all by saying Happy World Accreditation Day.
Happy World Accreditation
to
Day
you
to you
and to all Kenyans.
Yes.
And to all those who are viewing us today.
Yes.
Indeed, today is a special day for those who are in the accreditation ecosystem, in what I will explain later on, but it's called conformity assessment. Things to do with testing. Whatever we take, whatever we use, has been taken through a process of evaluation.
Yes.
Through a test, through a calibration, through an inspection, to make sure that it is safe, to make sure that it is able to meet our requirements and not injure us or injure the user.
Yeah.
Today, as you are coming in, you probably used your motor vehicle,
yeah,
and you are coming here. How sure are you that you're going to arrive here? We take our children to school through school buses and so on. Are the tires properly inflated? Are the speedometers correctly calibrated to ensure that they actually keep speed limits that will ensure they move from one end to another? In a nutshell, I'm already explaining accreditation. That extra layer of confidence and assurance given to those who use services, be it in a normal life where we're using products and services, or be it in the medical realm where you are tested and the result of the test is used as a basis for a clinician to determine if you're going to theater or if you're going home, which kind of medication you need to take and how often. The risk aspect. So accreditation is also mitigating risk. So in formal language, accreditation is that assurance that a given body or entity is competent to do what it does. For example, if there is a testing lab, it tests water, which we are taking every day, or even flowing through our taps. How can we trust that the water is safe? That assurance, unseen of course, is that laboratory. Is that lab capable of delivering results that are credible? So accreditation in a nutshell is a mechanism which assures Kenyans and the world that the products and services that we are consuming in the marketplace are safe, they can be trusted, and that the technologies we are adopting, as we shall be discussing in this session, are actually appropriate and can deliver the intended results.
Yeah. What you've said is something that touches on everyday aspect of life. And on the other hand, many may confuse accreditation with maybe licensing, certification, or even quality assurance. What is the distinction, and how does accreditation fit within that ecosystem?
Thank you for that question. Actually, they work together. When you look at an enterprise, it will put in place procedures, to put in place mechanisms to be able to undertake what it has planned to do. If it's manufacturing, they intend to ensure that they get the right raw materials, the process itself is okay, and the end product that comes out meets requirements for it to enter a market. So that is what we would consider to be quality assurance. To ensure that the product, the inputs are okay, the process is okay, and therefore the output is okay. When you get a product, the product itself needs to be able to access a market. And there has to be what we call product certification, a mark given to that product to determine that it has been tested, inspected, or otherwise evaluated, that it meets requirements. I am sure in this country, you look at the S mark, that tick sign that you see on the products that we consume. That is testament that the product has gone through a rigorous process of quality assurance, including testing, to determine if it meets requirements for safety, and that the claims on that bottle, that it contains minerals or contains whatever other elements like fortified food, it is truly so. So where does accreditation come in? Accreditation now is that extra layer of assurance that when a product or a service is actually out there in the market, it has actually gone through the right steps to be able to be fit for purpose. And the entities that are determining if it is actually fit for purpose are competent to do so. Let me explain a little bit about competence, because that will help us to put this home. When we evaluate an entity, whether it is an inspection body, it's inspecting a building, inspecting a motor vehicle, inspecting a railway line, inspecting an aircraft, or the entity is testing, a product like water that I've mentioned, or the entity is calibrating an equipment to make sure that the equipment is functioning in accordance with the requirements and, of course, manufacturer spec. There are 5 elements we look at. First, we will evaluate the personnel of that institution or entity. Are they competent, or are they, do they possess the right qualifications, educational experience, and other requirements that are necessary for their profession? We also look at their equipment. Do they have equipment and facilities that can deliver credible results consistently? The third element that we look at is procedures. What procedure are they using? Let me digress a bit by also asking, when you have a problem with your body and you go to some chemist or some shop, you want to buy medicine, and they tell you, okay, probably you have malaria or whatever, and they say, okay, just go behind this shop. We have someone who will take your blood and be able to determine if you have malaria. Really? Are you sure about it? Do you know the qualifications of that person? Do you know the equipment is using? What about the facility? Is the facility sufficient enough to be able to give you the correct result? Those are the elements that accreditation addresses. The fourth element that accreditation will look at is whether the entity meets requirements. And requirements can come from standards, and mainly international standards. The requirements are also coming from regulations, which is part of law. And they can also come from the contracts they have with their clients. And the fifth element is to be able to determine if this entity actually consistently does this work or it is ad hoc. This is through what we call surveillance. We normally look at them. So accreditation crowns it all. It gives that assurance. And that's why today is a very important day where entities that are involved in what we normally call the quality infrastructure, those who are in accreditation and those who are in conformity assessment, which is those who are testing, inspecting, or certifying others, are actually celebrating the gains that they have made. WTO, the World Trade Organization, recognizes accreditation as a very key basis for removal of technical barriers to trade. Kenya cannot introduce its own requirements. But if Kenya can fulfill international requirements, then our goods, our coffee, our flowers and others can actually access markets. So Article 6 and Article 9. Article 6 talks about the need to accept results coming from various economies, like those results that are tested or calibrated or certified in Kenya should be accepted in Uganda, in the US, and in Europe. Article 9 talks about the need for economies or countries to establish systems for evaluating products and services so that they are fit for purpose, they can meet the requirements at the international stage. And this is where KENAS comes in. And that's how, in the wisdom of the government of Kenya, KENAS was formed.
And also, you look at the theme, innovation, trust, and sustainability. Let's actually get into the theme, and we'll start with innovation. Look at innovation. It's at the forefront of these themes, and standards and compliance are sometimes viewed as obstacles to innovation. But when you look at accreditation, how does it enhance innovation rather than stifle it?
Thank you. Innovation is actually nobody can stop it. It's evolving. Right now, the systems we are using are based on artificial intelligence.
Yes.
They are based on machine learning.
Yes.
They are based on advanced technologies in energy systems, manufacturing, new manufacturing practices. Basically, technology is changing and rapidly so.
Yes.
What accreditation does is that before these technologies are adopted for use in normal circumstances, in manufacturing, in healthcare, in all our other activities, farming and so on, they are tested, they are evaluated. But who evaluates? That's where accreditation gives that impetus, that's assurance, that whoever is evaluating the technology for fitness and applicability is competent to do so. Otherwise, we would have everybody producing every other technology, and they could be injurious to humans. Of course, humans love themselves first, before the rest. So the technologies that are coming up are actually guaranteed through the evaluation by accredited organizations. If you're using AI, for example, in manufacturing, you want to guarantee that the product that will come out is going to be probably superior or better and meet the minimum requirements for them to be safe. Yes.
I'm asking that because you've mentioned AI, and also there's the digital tech, matters of renewable energy, and even smart manufacturing. How can you say accreditation is evolving to keep up with the pace that